Welcome to the 2023 interview series. I'm Sabrina Schottenhamel, and today I have with me another one of my dear friends and entrepreneurs, Molly Hebda. Thank you so much, Molly, for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Sabrina. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so go ahead and introduce yourself and tell our audience how we met.
um, that's always a fun story.
It is.
I'm Molly Hebda, and I run a brand photography studio in downtown Lamont, Illinois. And I work with female entrepreneurs and creative entrepreneurs to help them with photos for their business, as well as headshot clients. And I've started adding in personal photo shoots like boudoir and maternity into the realm as well. So we've been having a lot of fun with that. But I met you, Sabrina. It was back in 2010 in Naperville at Tees Dance and Fitness. It feels funny because I've been talking about Tees quite a bit. We talked about it yesterday with my guest on my new podcast that I started in January. And I talked to like my past brand clients, and I met this particular brand client back at Tees as well. So I took a bunch of classes in 2010 before I started teaching, and you were one of my first instructors.
Oh, I love that. I remember it was, well, I used to teach there. I started teaching right after I got married because I had taken a little bit of a hiatus. I started, I think towards the end of 2005, I took my very first class. That was even before Kristen had it in her house. She was at a fitness studio in Naperville, and then that shut down. So then she moved it to her house. And then I took classes for probably about a year and a half at that point. And then my younger sister got married, then I got married. And then after I got married and came back for my little time off, I went back and Kristen was like, "Hey, do you want to teach?" I was like, no, but yes. And then I started some morning classes, and I think you were probably my second or third class that I had run. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I remember specific students, and some of them I've stayed in contact with, like personally, where I have gone to see them or they're still local or whatever. So it's really cool that you and we've parted ways, but we've also come back together. And I just think that's so cool. So you mentioned your podcast. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh yeah, sure. It's called Mondays with Molly. Play on words right there. And it just so happened, I had this idea well over 6 years ago when I first started my business. I had found a lot of really good connections with podcasts and listening to other entrepreneurs and their stories, and feeling like I wasn't alone in this kind of sometimes very lonely kind of world when we were running our own businesses by ourselves. And so it was on the back burner for a long time. And finally, working with the mastermind that I'm part of in Seattle, they encouraged me to just do it. And the first Monday of the new year happened to fall on my birthday. So I launched it on my birthday, my 45th birthday. And I'm using this year to kind of just explore the platform and interviewing my past brand clients and getting to know them better, as well as being able to showcase them to the world. Because when I work with people, I find that I learn about them on a personal level, learn about their goals, their dreams, and I just feel like it just needs to be out there in the world. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. So it's basically entrepreneurial stories from other entrepreneurs, I guess. And then also because I have had a non-linear life with my journey, I've been trying to tell stories with that as well. So it's, new and, getting out all the kinks and everything like that. But I've been really enjoying it and having a great time.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us how you got into the work that you're doing.
Well, I mean, Tees it's kind of funny because it all goes back to that linear or non-linear line as well.
Uh-huh.
So having been at Tees and then teaching for many years, and then they're moving, but I also hurt my shoulder in a competition, my one and only competition that I ever entered.
Mhm.
I wasn't able to teach anymore, so I started to manage. And then an opportunity came up to work for a company out in LA. So I ended up taking a job out there to help, be a VA, but then it turned into being an assistant and then doing social media and learning how to build websites and manage their memberships and all these other things, plus help produce shows out in LA and Vegas. And because I was doing so much of the marketing and learning about that, I really wanted to tell the transformational stories of the actual students there. And they always wanted to put out like the perfect pretty pictures of like the performers that were coming in from all over the world, obviously like showcase them, but the stories of like regular people taking these classes, transforming themselves, inside as well as outside, and then having this opportunity to perform on these large stages in LA and Vegas, like there was a missing story right there. Like that could have been something really, really cool for the audience to connect with and then want to actually do that for themselves too. So after a couple of years of complaining about it, my husband's like, just get a camera and do it yourself. So I did. I started my business without ever owning a camera before, like except for like, the little point and shoots and stuff like that when you're, like doing film and all that.
Mhm.
And like some of the first digitals or whatever, but it wasn't anything that, was a hobby of mine or any of that kind of stuff. So I started that in June 2016. Well, I got my camera in June 2016 and ended up going out for my first shoots in August 2016. And then 6 months later, I ended up having a studio, tried all the different things, and then finally came back to branding and working with small businesses and that empowerment piece for women. So yeah, that's how I started.
I love that. Yeah, I love how it sort of starts out with women and
Uh-huh.
then, sort of shifted a little bit, but then always came back to the women empowerment and, telling a story through the pictures that you take through the body and, the way people express themselves.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely feel like, I mean, I know that there's a lot of people that think like, oh, I failed at that job or I, quit that job and that ended. But I've taken pieces from every single one of the positions I've had throughout the years and been able to put all of that into this business that I'm growing for myself. So I find it fascinating. And I feel like it's kind of what makes me different than other people is because of my story. And then I get to help people kind of figure out what makes them different from other people that, they may have like as not necessarily competition, but like the other businesses like theirs out there.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. To stand out and shine through, telling the story through the photos. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So
Thanks.
Molly, tell us some of your passions.
Passions. Well, I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, you kind of start off with a business because you find a passion with it. But I think right now my passion is just relationships and building those and like the experiences through like what I can do for my studio. So that's kind of like where I've been like focusing right now is like building the relationships that I, have through my business and then other connections outside of my network and just following those different stories and the different people and just finding those connections and then being able to then tie all those people back to, other people that may want to connect with them too. So
Mhm.
I don't know, that's kind of like little my passion project right now. And then I've also really enjoyed delving into the video part of storytelling with my business too lately. And like doing more little snippets of like moments within our photo shoots. So like creating like those small little reels, but having like the really slow-mo feel to the videos and just like that like stillness, but there's still a little bit of movement. And it's kind of been fun to tell those stories in a little bit different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is cool because it shows behind the scenes and maybe like a raw emotion that you want to come through to the video or to the photos, but they're in between taking photos, and there's that little raw, what's the word I'm looking for?
Emotion?
Well, yeah, raw emotion, but the vulnerability
Yeah,
that
for
shows
sure.
up, yeah, in between the photos.
Yeah,
So
and
that's cool. That's
it
cool that
adds
you're
like
able to capture that through the reel.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
brings just like another element of depth to what we're working on and what we're trying to showcase for the clients.
Mhm.
And I feel like there's always going to be need for photos because I have so many more clients now coming to me saying like, oh, I am being featured in a magazine, but I have absolutely no professional photos. They can't use any iPhone photos.
Right.
So they need to have real high resolution photos for these magazine features or online articles and even physical magazines. And so I think that photos are always going to be needed and
Mhm.
definitely, like the high priority. But then obviously, like through social media and all these other platforms, like, you know, they always say like video is going to get more, ratings and things like that. So being able to sprinkle some of that in with your real life stories and having a combination of it, it just makes it so much more realistic for people to like see you and connect with you and find ways to like see who you are in the world and what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's awesome. And I love videos too, and that's part of why I'm doing this, but also
Mhm.
I like to share on video, um, because it's a really good way for people to connect heart to heart with you, and like you said, for the algorithms and for more followers or just to get out there a little bit more, videos and photos are more eye-catching.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you. And um, what is the very first thing that comes to mind that you're grateful for right now?
Um, I would have to say right now, I mean, obviously my family, like that's always like top priority, but I'm really grateful for the connections that I've had recently. Even through like this podcast, like reconnecting with some of my clients that I've worked with multiple times,
Mhm.
but then there's like really new exciting projects coming up that like I'm like buzzing about and like the people that I've met through my photography business, even from the beginning, being able to have those connections and relationships, like including you. And
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm just really grateful for like the people that I have in my life right now.
Well, and you know what I really love is you had a networking group that is what brought us back together a few years ago. And
Mhm.
then, you got busy with all your other things, and then you just restarted that, which I love. And, we meet once a month, and, it's just nice to come together. But I've always met really high quality people through you, Molly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I've been grateful for that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like the older that I get, I feel like the more I don't know, genuine the connections are. Like, I mean, I don't want to sound shallow or anything, and I don't think it's shallow, but I don't want to have surface level like relationships. I want to be able to like deep dive and really get to know like what's going on with people and what their fears are, what their struggle is, how people can help, and then also like dream with each other and think about like the big things in life.
Yeah. So since you said getting together and like diving deep and dreaming with each other, would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
I definitely need my cave time. I definitely need that alone time, just me time, be with my kittens, be with the family and things like that and step away.
Yeah.
But I definitely feed off of other people. Like their energy. And like if somebody's lit up about something that they're doing, or I work with a client that's like super excited about something, then I get super excited and motivated, and like then it sparks all these other ideas. So I definitely love the play with other people and everybody else's energy. So yeah, I definitely have a mix of that.
Yeah. So
but
that
then I
would
have
be
to step
called,
away.
yeah, that would be called an ambivert, probably.
Ambivert.
Yeah, because I do see you as, introverted and needing your time to pull in, be quiet, recharge, same as me. But as an entrepreneur, we have that recharge with our clients and our customers, or, networking events or parties. We love to be around people because it sort of recharges our connection battery. But then also
sure.
we're like, ooh, okay, that's enough. I got to go home and recharge and get in my jammies, read a book, have some tea, and be alone and quiet.
For sure.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much, Molly, for spending your time with me today. I want both our audiences to connect with you. So give us one way, the best way that people can connect with you.
I would say, I mean, obviously, like I'd love people to go to my website, but I feel like the best connection would probably be on Instagram, because that's where I hang out most. I love, being able to showcase like client projects, as well as like the podcast information. And then I've been trying to hang out in stories a little bit more, because I feel like that's just like a little bit more real life and everything. So I would say Instagram. It's Molly Hebda Photography, and I'll definitely get the link for you for that.
Okay. Yeah. And then I will include that in the videos. And once this goes live, we will be sharing it on all of our platforms so you can connect with Molly. So again, thank you so much for your time today, Molly, and I will see you soon.
I appreciate it, Sabrina. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.